Ghana card as the sole basis when not everyone has the Ghana card will lead to chaos?
Yes.
That is common sense.
I agree.
And that is why I like the position of Parliament, where there's a bipartisan resistance to this inimical attempt to impose the Ghana card as the sole basis for registration.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
So all those cases you mentioned that MPP brought,
Yes.
was he opposed by NDC in those times?
Not all of them.
Some of them were.
Some of them were. You understand? But the credit I'm giving you is that whenever you have been in opposition, you have made contributions that if the government of the day had decided and insisted, for example, between 92 and 96.
You know, in 92, NDC rejected all the proposals, and
listen.
that's why we boycotted.
No. I'm not talking about 92. No, it's post. Hold on.
So
it
why
was
you
post 92.
We started our democracy in 92.
No, I'm saying that post 92.
Don't lump all.
No, listen. Look, you're not listening to me. That's unfair. Listen, I said that between 1992 and 1996, after the election, you came and gave proposals. You gave proposals that contributed to an improvement in the electoral system in 1996, and even better between 96 and 2000. And it's as a result of the improvements in the election that is why we had our first democratic change in 2001. You believe that without those reforms, you would have gotten a victory in 2001?
So your before the reforms, you had an unfair advantage.
No, of course. Because listen. Look, the truth is the truth. The truth is the truth. That when you had a situation where people you did not see the counting, the ballot and the counting.
Everything was.
There were allegations that the classroom doors would be closed, and when you finish, then they'll come and tell you that these were the results. You don't know.
You know what they said? They said the NPP has described a litany of excuses as to why we couldn't
you see,
we didn't even call our proposal for electoral.
You wrote a stolen verdict.
Yes, we did.
Exactly.
What they call it, a litany of excuses.
Excuses.
So we have come
not
far.
infractions.
Saying that, look,
excuses.
Anytime there have been improvements in our electoral system, it's as a result of the fact that the opposition's voice has been given space in the system.
I agree with you, but isn't it also the other side of it being that the kind of reforms that you are proposing should be reforms that are implementable?
Why? Are we living in space?
No, so let me finish my preamble, then you can answer the question. If you come up with a proposal which is inconsistent with the provisions,
which of our proposals are inconsistent with the law?
The EC has said that several of the things that you are asking for
will require some of them will require legislative action. We understand. Listen, the point we are making is this. One of the biggest criticism against Jean Mensa, okay, is this attitude that the IPAC is just an advisory body, and so she can run rogue, and that is why she is still stuck. I repeat, that is why she is still stuck in Parliament with a CI, because if she is not oriented to understand that you don't run an election system without the participation of the main parties, you can't do it.
But NDC stepped out of IPAC, and then you on your own have come back.
96 is when we stopped using the opaque. We were doing tampering.
Look at the reforms. Look at the reforms that we have come. We have come far in our election system.
So Eunice Champoma says I should ask you a question. Maybe all the proposals from the MPP whilst in opposition were logic and instrumental to make
Congress
reforms.
Because
now
you
disagree.
Stupid. And we are illogical.
Exactly.
No, I'm not sure that's what she's saying. She's just asking a question.
I keep repeating that a democracy can only advance when there is space for the minority and opposition parties to be able to have their voices heard, and not only heard but be considered. You cannot run a democracy. And the MPP itself recognizes
about this current EC chair.
It is this EC. Look. This EC chair,
as far as I'm concerned,
chair has a certain
Afarijan's time. I didn't hear anybody.
But Afarijan was deemed as common. Look, as Afarijan, when you lost an election, you accused Afarijan of not being fair.
But you, when you also lose an election,
listen. The reason why somebody like the reason why Afarijan, for example, had credibility,
transcended different.
Exactly, and I'm saying that this EC boss, okay, has a certain closed ear attitude. And this Aswardin business, at I'm sure you know behind the scenes the effort it took for the NDC to get back into IPAC because there's a recognition that you cannot run
there's a question here. There's a
I think
question
you
for
can
you.
also.
It's not about the
I think
fact that it's a
I think you can also NDC as a party can also look at how they deal with the EC.
we are back.
No, you're just attacking her
attacking
as
her.
if
But
you
when
can.
Charlotte Osei was in power, what did you people do?
We didn't
But
attack her.
you were pampering her.
We didn't
You
attack
were
her.
holding her as
No.
Mama Odede. What do you people
We
do?
didn't attack
You really
her.
attacked her womanhood. Your MPs attacked her womanhood. Your MPs are on record to have even attacked her womanhood. Don't even go there.
Okay,
Me?
Ni.
Don't
So there's
even
I
go
think
there.
They all
I
do
think
it.
the way you dealing with
No,
her.
Your Kennedy, what do you say about the
Me, I think the way you're dealing with the EC
people run Charlotte Osei out
is
of
also a
office.
problem. We are just
Run
you know,
out of
you see,
office.
we're just having
You declare that you remove her, you remove
we're just
her.
having a discussion. Listen.
Okay,
I think
so-
the way you're dealing with the EC also is a bit problematic.
Why is it problematic?
Because you want to, you see, you want a consensus, you want an engagement. You don't start it with
She
the
must
fight.
listen. She
Kingsley, it
must
happens
recognize-
all the
listen.
time.
Yeah, but
Whoever
I
is in
know,
opposition.
but I'm not saying it is
stop it,
right.
brother.
I'm not saying
Stop it.
exactly. That's the point I'm
No,
making.
it's easy
The
to-
point I'm making is that
listen,
you want to engage the
listen,
EC.
stop it.
Don't start by fighting her.
You must recognize
And you are thinking that you can scare her. You
No,
cannot.
Who cares you want to scare?
We are
You
trying-
can. You
telling
cannot.
her, we are telling
We
her
are.
that
We are
we are
all.
also telling her that
We are all
she doesn't
trying
own
to.
Ghana.
We are all
She
trying
does
to
not
build.
own Ghana.
Listen. We are all trying to build a consensus. Let us do in such a way that
Yes.
we all
But
come
she
to.
must realize that
Okay.
she does
No,
not
don't
own Ghana.
fix it with
Okay,
that.
He has to
These
be
are
a
all
mother
coming
figure.
There are
to
some
the
other
middle
stuff- there are
ground.
some
To be a
other-
mother figure.
Yes, there are some
Exactly.
other questions here. There are some other questions here. We are moving to the next topic, which
Right.
is the MPP primaries.
That's
But
even
there's
my
a few comments, a few comments here.
I was actually going to say some nice. I was actually going to say nice things. I was actually going to say nice things about you.
Nice things about
Yes, relax. I'll tell you.
Okay,
About her in particular.
No, about her party.
okay. So there is Ansa on Facebook who says that Ni is
Love
lost.
me, you know.
Okay, so this one sounds a little bit insulting, and I want to.
No.
Yeah, so
Let's not reduce
we
your
are not
platform.
we are not insulting anybody here. So Stephen Reku says that
Yeah,
Ni
they are
must tell
looking for
Ni must tell this
Exactly.
Ni must tell the listeners which of the reforms brought by the MPP was supported by the NDC. He must just mention one of them. So somebody is throwing a challenge to you, and
From 1992 to 1996, okay, we were under a president who was deemed to be a military dictator.
He was a military.
Yeah, fine.
Not deemed.
Fine.
He was.
But this military dictator, at least on these days when we compare him to your current president, we can Roll is a kakra. But you know,
Do you really want to go there?
oh, but your man there is a constitutional dictator. I beg you. Hey,
Go there.
you want to actually go there?
We
You
don't
want
have
to
time.
compare Rawlings?
You mean the president has
Give
smashed his vice
us
president?
time.
No,
You mean the president has
Hey.
smashed his
You
vice
want us to
president?
start?
This your constitutional
This
dictator.
president has smashed his vice
You said
president.
you robbed him, oh.
No.
This your other day you robbed him. You robbed him with this deal.
He does-
You mean Anadu has not
Already,
been?
Yakubu.
All right,
Hey.
all right.
Talk about it.
Lady and gentlemen, hold on.
How can you
Aka, what did you people do to Aka?
current president,
The whole vice
and you want
president.
to compare him to the current president, a coup leader turned president,
Uh-huh.
and you want
And
to
a
compare him
democratically
to the
elected
current
president.
But he was also democratically elected.
Annie.
Hey.
democratically
We should
elected.
have
Annie.
space. Okay.
Okay.
Please give us
How
time.
many years?
Give us
No,
time for one of the
Annie.
programs so that I can
Stop
engage
talking
you.
about the people who died.
But you
Annie.
people,
Don't bring
the people
people
have died
sorrow.
though. Why
No,
under
no.
your government?
You know what?
8 Ghanaians died
Let's
for an
not
election.
talk- let's not
Already.
And High Court judges were rounded up.
Guys,
You are
guys,
completely
guys,
out of order.
Yo, but
You are out of
okay,
order.
I hear you.
They ended up being friends.
wait.
Both of them.
And I think-
They ended up being friends. So let's leave it.
I take full charge of the
I
program
think somebody
again.
can do
How
a
you do
thesis.
that?
We can have an opportunity to
Constitutional
discuss.
dictator.
Constitutional dictator. We have a constitutional dictator.
Okay,
Even
so
if you think
we
that's
going
good,
back
it's
to
better than a coup leader.
Dr. Ann. I'm coming to you for. We are starting with you for the next
Atrocities
topic.
of that military.
And
Hey, you
Don't
people,
let people
you
wake
collateral
up to
damage,
their
oh.
sorrows,
This-
please.
Hey, collateral
Let
damage.
people wake
8
up to their
Ghanaians.
sorrows.
I can give you the
How
pictures.
many years of
I've
living
known
Nice
that you're out
young
of
men,
order.
nice young men
Let's go and
who are
talk
about
to people
to
and
get
ask
married though.
them that which stories.
Already.
Please.
You are out of order.
Don't
Okay,
bring
I
your
hear
coup
you.
leader stories into this.
So there is
This is
a
our constitutional dictator.
there is a message I have.
Yeah, it's okay.
Lady and gentlemen, there's a message I have here, and let me read it. It says that you cannot attain 100% registration of all Ghanaians for the Ghana card. It is not compulsory, and some Ghanaians may simply choose not to register. An insistence on all Ghanaians is both unrealistic and unfair. And this message, you must understand it because you raised that issue of Ghana card. Now, this message is from Professor Ken Atefa. He is the executive secretary of the National Identification Authority, and this is the analysis he's making. So he's saying that if you want to attain the state where every Ghanaian is on the has a Ghana card, it is unrealistic and it's unfair because not everybody will want to register.
We agree, but he himself in internet, that's one of the things I always admire about Professor Ken Atefa. He's been very frank about the fact that the inability to fund his organization to be able to, it's not as if they don't have the capacity to roll out a card for everybody, but it's all about money. He always admits the fact that if he has the needed resources, he can guarantee that the production of the cards can be done. Whether the people come voluntarily to come and pick it is another matter. But in terms of being able to deliver 100% in terms of everybody who has applied and his card has been produced,
and after doing 17 million, which is equivalent to the number of registered voters in Ghana, you still think there's a shortfall.
Hold on.
There are 17 million people registered on the voters register.
He has not yet updated. I don't have the latest data.
The latest is as far
I hope
as
that
I know.
he can put the data, because the last time he was called before Parliament and it was live. We heard it. I think that if Parliament has not invited him, he should hold a press conference with the Electoral Commission and tell the Ghanaian people that, look, we have produced enough for every eligible voter to be able to have a Ghana card. Then we will end this debate.
So Lawrence says that he must be a troublesome father. So that's Lawrence on Facebook. Okay, so Professor Ken Atefa comes back again and says that only about 200,000 Ghanaians aged 15 years and above remain to be registered. The nation's progress should not be retarded or held back because of this small proportion of Ghanaians. Currently, 17.8 million people have been registered.
Excuse me.
Elections have been won.
Elections have been won with 10,000 people. If even one Ghanaian voter does not have his Ghana card, he shouldn't go there.
Okay, so I'm calling Professor Ken Atefa so that he makes an intervention on this program. As my producers call Professor Ken Atefa, let's switch to the next discussion. And I'm starting with you, Doc. So just before I do that, Lee says that even when the MPP were bringing the biometric equipment, Asiedun Ketia told us if you put your finger on the machine, you will get cancer. And if you are a woman, if you are a man, your manhood will vanish. Ghana has come a long way, and that is a message from Lee Teko. Lee Tek, thank you for reminding us about this. And then Benjamin Brekum Mensah says that, good morning, Wilberforce. Please control me. He's shouting and interjecting too much. He's making listening a bit difficult. So, Lee, that's your message. You are making listening a bit difficult. Okay, Prof. No, it's not Prof. Doc. Very soon you'll be Prof. So, the MPP held its parliamentary primaries. And we are being told that there is the issue of the reduction in the number of women. Too many women were kicked out of their slots and what have you. Your general overview of the process as took place.
So thank you very much, Wilberforce. And the whole parliamentary primaries or the parliamentary contests for the New Patriotic Party didn't just, pop out of nowhere and start, in the middle of anywhere. The first announcement that we had a calendar for parliamentary primaries was actually on the 2nd of April last year in 2023. That's when the General Secretary came up with a calendar for all the various internal elections that was going to take place in the year 2023 and also come 2024. Of course, there were some adjustments, but I mean, almost no change in the dates for which the elections were going to take place. So to say that people were not adequately prepared or anything, I think that would be very, very untrue. At each stage too, you'd realize that there was a clear publication of rules and guidelines that would be used in conducting the primary elections. So fast forward from all the elections until the primaries for the orphan constituencies, and then eventually that for our sitting MPs that just took place last Saturday. Every step that the party needed to take was taken to ensure that the process was free, fair, transparent, and every aspirant who contested had the best assurance that they would win. So everyone had a fair chance of winning, and the scales was not tipped in favor of anyone against the other person. We also did do some research in the background. As usual, we'll do some research to see that would there be any issues that would be up and coming and distort the peaceful, way in which our people or our party in those specific constituencies were living. Especially some of these constituencies are our strongholds. We've occupied the seat for the last 5, 6, 7 general elections. So we're very protective of it, and we want to ensure that as much as possible, no matter what is happening or no matter how tense the contest would be, it would not result in a situation where our party then ends up breaking up. So I think these were the key and most important things that the party leadership looked out for to ensure that the process was free and fair. So national leaders were actually deployed to all these constituencies for monitoring purposes. I was in the central region. That said, yes, it's true, some women have been now taken out as a result of the contest. But you'd also realize that in the Orphan constituency primaries, we actually had a lot of women aspirants coming in.
Okay, so Doc,
so the tide seems to be, shifting.
Okay, so on that point of the women being reflected in orphan constituencies. Yes. Just hold on, you continue your thoughts from there. Okay. Professor Kenatefa is the Executive Secretary of the National Identification Authority, is the body responsible for issuing Ghana cards to all Ghanaians, and he's joining us via telephone. Prof, very good morning to you. Thank you very much for doing the listening and for coming on the line to intervene on the discussion that was ongoing. I'll quickly ask you to make your intervention as far as the Ghana card issues are concerned, Prof. Hello, Prof. Hello, Prof.
Yes, please. Okay,
yes, Prof. Did you hear my question?
There was so much. Yes, there was so much noise. There were too many people talking. I think I couldn't hear much. I heard my name and my designation.
Okay, so the question was. So if you can hear me, the question really is that I need you to make the intervention as far as the Ghana card situation is concerned, as was being discussed by Nick Papo, our guest on the show today.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Thank you very much, and good morning to your panelists and your listeners. I'm grateful for this opportunity. First of all, our democracy is not founded on compulsion. It is founded on freedom of expression, freedom of action that is lawful. People are entitled to register for the Ghana card, but they are not obliged. The insistence on until all Ghanaians obtain the Ghana card is a strange and unrealistic, improbable expectation. Really strange. First of all, a person may elect not to. And there are many people who I have encountered situations where somebody is sitting 30 meters from a registration center and has refused. I have gone to her and said, have you registered, madam? Selling her cocoa and roasted plantains. And has insisted that I give her transport to go 30 meters to go and register. There are people who have registered and have not gone for their Ghana cards. We have over 600,000 cards in the custody of NIA. We have offices in every single constituency in this country. Our district offices are coterminous with the constituency. So we have 276 offices, including Seoul. Our officers are there, the cards are there. We go around to communities, to villages, to churches, and to mosques, and we follow local calendars to try and get the cards that are issued. We invite people. We do all we can. MMDCs, political aspirants, MPs, all these and philanthropists have given us support to try and go into communities with the support of the police and security agencies to go and distribute cards. And yet some people elect not to go and get their cards. It is, with the greatest of respect, unfair to demand that until every Ghanaian, whatever that phrase means, if you are talking of every Ghanaian who is aged 18 years and above, until that class or cohort of the population, everyone within it has obtained the Ghana card, it is still unfair. There is a saturation point in every social and public enterprise when it comes to mass action. So please, let us pipe down. You have, from the Statistical Service, about 19 million Ghanaians who are aged 15 and above. We have captured, at minimum, as at the last time I checked, 17.8 million out of that 19 million. Now, so if you take it that it's even 2 whole million, our capacity as it exists, without doing anything else, our capacity is sufficient to register that cohort of the population, the remainder, the 2 million or so, within a maximum of 3 months. But by our calculation, really it is about 240 or so thousand people who have not at all registered. So that's the second point. The first point, to be clear, is that you cannot expect everyone to register. It is not compulsory. Number two, and no, everyone may be motivated. Somebody may have no need to even they not possess a phone, doesn't have a need to register a SIM card. If they are expecting money, a neighbor may get it for them. There are people who don't operate bank accounts, people who operate outside the formal system of commercial transactions and all of that, and it is not compulsory for them. Then there are those who may even, some strangely, for some religious or ecclesiastical reasons, elect not to register. Fear of, some people were saying that it is 666 or whatever it is. So let us slow down. Let us advance our democracy. We cannot be held back as a nation, retard our own progress, because a small fraction of the population that has been given the opportunity since 2019, in fact 2018, has elected or has elected not to, or has been unable to register. If it is a genuine inability to register, we are sending the registration facility to their communities. We did so during mass registration, where there were centers, but now they are in the regional and district offices, and the 16 regional offices are open. There are also over 10 premium registration centers across the country. The Electoral Commission's bid to lay a CI in Parliament is founded on the conviction and the assurance that the NIA has done all that is reasonably necessary to capture the entirety, if possible, of the qualified cohort of the population. And that with the continuous registration in the regional and district offices, anyone desiring to register can register. Progress is made by bold actions, and I thank you for this opportunity.
Okay, so Prof, just before I let you go, do I get the understanding that from where you sit as Executive Secretary of the NIA, you think that the Electoral Commission's decision to trigger the provisions that require that all cards, including the voters identification card, be embedded into the Ghana card is ripe, and that they can go ahead with that exercise without any hindrances?
Yes, 100%. The Electoral Commission's action is founded on the law since 2018. The law has been amended to exclude the voter registration, the voter ID card, as an index or as proof of Ghanaian citizenship. Since 2018, that law has been amended. All this conversation is really, quite frankly, a little retardation. It's too late. But because we want to forge cohesion, we want to forge democratic consensus, because we want to forge the harmonious growth of our society, it is imperative that the Electoral Commission, notwithstanding the state of the law, take the enterprise of collective, consensus building, a serious one, and get all the parties on board. But it is also imperative on those critical stakeholders, very well-meaning critical stakeholders such as the NDC, the PPP, my brother Pakpo, and others who are, genuinely concerned, that we all come to the table with open minds, with a sincerity and the conviction that if we are honest with ourselves, the proof is clearly there, or we can chart a path that is clear and will take us to the destination of democratic advancement. We should not be retarded. We should be advancing.
Indeed, Professor Ken Atefa there, very articulate and very clear statements made by you, Prof. Thank you very much indeed for your intervention. I'm very grateful. Asasi Radio is grateful. Professor Ken Atefa is the Executive Secretary of the National Identification Authority. He brought the intervention. He says that, look, the Ghana Statistical Service says that there are 19 million Ghanaians who are 18 years and above, which is the people who are qualified to vote. And the NHIA, or the NIA, I should say, has registered 17.8 million out of this 19 million. And so in their estimation, only 240,000 people have not yet joined this Ghana card issue. And so we cannot allow just the 240,000 people to hold us to ransom from making progress as a country. If they decide not to register for whatever reason, their decision not to register cannot be the reason why we hold on with our progress. Can you imagine that you are holding on the progress of 17.8 million people just because of 240,000 people? That's what Ken Atefa is saying. And he's also emphasizing the fact that the Electoral Commission is well able to activate the law that requires that the Ghana card should be used as the sole means of identification for voters, voters ID card and all that. So that's the point that has been made clearly by Professor Ken Atefa.
And sometimes I think for the practicality of it, why is it impossible for the for the Ghana card,
National Identification Authority,
the NIA and the Electoral Commission to coexist together during the registration process? Can't we look at that? That at the point of registration, we have the Ghana card machines.
So I remember at some point they went to Parliament together. One of the when Parliament sat as a whole.
Yes.
I remember the EC chair and the NIA boss were in Parliament to address the House.
Yes.
Okay. So your comment is something that is worth considering.
Why can't that be done?
But okay, for them to do that, who owns the machines?
No, but you see, you have
the software?
So you have the EC machines there. Because the EC is insisting that until you have a Ghana card, we are not able to register you and issue with a voter card. I say, okay, these two institutions have their people be side by side. As a Ghanaian, if I'm eligible to register as a voter, I go to the registration center. I get my Ghana card issued, and then I go and get my voter's card. Is that an impossibility?
Okay, so that is
who owns the equipment for the ID cards?
It's the NIA.
Are you sure?
Well,
go and check.
Well, check. No, but the point is, I'm asking whether that cannot be implemented so that we take out, because if this, you see, we are in a situation where Parliament is refusing to pass this CI in its current form. When the registration also took place, we saw the statistics where the guarantor system is still one of the highest ways of being the means of registration. So it means that without the guarantor system, all those people that were registered with the guarantor system for the voter ID card would not have had the opportunity of...
I believe there has to be an option apart from Ghana card.
Exactly.
There has to be.
That is what the Parliament is saying. That is what the EC is refusing
there
to
is no
to.
question about it.
That's why CI is still stuck.
There's no question about it. There has to be.
The law is saying that as a country, we are all moving to relying on one card.
We are moving. We are not there yet.
So
we are not there yet.
Okay. All right. So, Doc, let's continue from where you left off so that everybody can have a bite on the MPP issue before our time runs out. Doc, so you were on the women issues as far as the orphan constituencies are concerned, if I recall.
Yes. And I was saying that about 17 women have entered the race from the orphan constituencies. And if we look at the last primary contest for the sitting MPs that just occurred last week, 7 women lost their bid. So 7 honorable members of parliament lost their bid to retain their position to run for December 7th. And then one honorable member of parliament has also dropped out, Honorable Francisca Oting. So that's 8 of our honorable women who are not going to be in the next election. But that's
out of a total of 20.
Yes,
we had 20 women,
yes,
so
20
8
women.
of them
so
are
8
out.
of them are out,
okay.
And we have 12. But then I was also saying that if you look at even the new entrants in the orphans, we had 17 new, entrants coming on board. And even for this sitting MPs, I think we have 3 seats that have also been won now by women. So looking at, we wouldn't want to say that the honorable members of parliament who are women who have lost their bid to retain their seat is such a very fortunate thing because we have more numbers coming in. No, it doesn't equalize, and I don't think that statistic should ever be used. But what I'm trying to emphasize is we still do have an interest in having women, go to parliament, and that is exhibited in the fact that we still had women who won the primaries, the orphan constituencies, which was quite very, also very competitive. And they won in some seats where we are really hoping we can capture from the NDC. So I'm very happy about that.
What about the issue of... okay, please finish.
Those who managed to retain, it also shows us some dynamics, because if you look at Honorable Hawa Kumsin, Honorable Esila, those who were able to, Honorable Apna Oseasari, you see these as very strong pillars that have been in parliament for a while. And I think that it is time for us then to see how we mentor, and grow more women to also, be able to capture seats and hold on to those seats. So I think that we do have some lessons that we have seen, especially when it comes to the women who lost their seats and those who have now entered. How do we ensure that those who have entered are able to also win seats? How do we ensure that we have more women going for the winnable seats for, as a party, to encourage more women to enter into politics? I think, and I don't think it's NPP alone. If Nipapo will be very, very honest, I think NDC has a very dire situation as well. The competition is very keen, and it is keen whether you're a woman or you're a man. So I think it is time for us to grow more resilient women. If we want our democracy to be strong, then we need to grow more women. Just this week, I was in a meeting, and just off the hand, I commented to someone that, is it me or I'm the only woman in this room? And I think it is a challenge that I'm throwing to my colleague women. It is so important that we find ways of entering the space. I don't think contributing to democracy or contributing to the development and the growth of your nation should only be when you go and run for honorable member of parliament. I think even discussions on air like this, we should encourage ourselves to be more present. I have tried so many times to encourage my own women to come, and sometimes the stereotyping is very, very interesting. For a lot of people, they think it takes a lot for you to be where you are. It takes a lot but I think that the most important thing is determination and the zeal to say, I will be a voice and I'll be part of the process and I'll contribute to the development of my nation, if not for anything at all, for the future of our own children. So I think it's a call that we should encourage ourselves. For me, I wouldn't go out telling men to come and encourage us. I always say we women should encourage ourselves first to step up for more positions
and be counted. Okay, so there's Lati on Facebook says that Wilberforce, kindly ensure Ni is seated and listening to Professor. Listening to Professor full stop. Usual NDC antics. He will disappear once Prof is speaking and later still argue and shout without data. So that is a message from Lati to Ni. And then there is also Ansa, who says that we have to see more of Dr. Antoinette Tibudako. Her submissions are educative and on point. So, Doc, over to you. Ansa wants to see more of you. Kindly allow and ensure Dr. Antoinette flow without anyone interjecting. We love education, not noise. Okay. Then there's Eunice who says that good summary of Professor's submissions. Well done, Robert. Okay, Eunice, thank you very much. And then there is Esquire Ni Papo Ado. Your submission of the EC and NIA meeting to share ideas of operational issues must be taken to the IPAC for consideration. This is why the NDC must go back to the IPAC with a clean mind for positive consequences. Okay, a lot of people are speaking a lot of English today, and I'm coming to you, Mr. Jantua, to comment about the MPP. The MPP must make it a law that if a sitting member of parliament is a woman, the aspirant must also be a woman. Mr. Wilberforce, the number of women in parliament in Africa, the country that tops is Rwanda with 61.25%, Senegal 46.06%, South Africa 45.61%, Ghana 14.55%, Nigeria 3.91%, with the least in Africa. This is 2022 data. Thank you, Lee, for this statistics. Where Ghana is not good at all. Mr. Janswa, okay, so issue about women and also monetization. We are told that the money issues was not easy. The other day I was talking about people sharing 300 cedis. Somebody was like, you are joking. What are you talking about 200 cedis and 300 cedis? People shared proper money. And then also, some people took home refrigerators and television sets. It's like Christmas reloaded.
I want to start from the MPP letter. I'm trying to pull it up, which in the title is, it's for immediate release. New Patriotic Party headquarters, January 17th, 2024. Decision of the National Executive Committee on aspiring parliamentary candidates. Now, they have a list of all parliamentary candidates of the MPP, and maybe Annie will be able to explain to me.
Mrs. Answer, I'm afraid I'm going to have to interrupt you, sadly. But we just seen another letter that is also coming from the Office of the President, which talks about nominations to municipal and district assemblies. So just after the revocation, there is also a letter that is establishing nomination of new ones, and so it's also it's also pursuant to my letter of 2nd February 2024, and in accordance with Article 2431 of the Constitution, I have made the following nominations to the office of Chief Executive of the following municipal and district assemblies, pending their approval by their respective assemblies. So there's Prince Doma Amoa for Ahafo Ano North, Oscar Asare Ano, Amansia West, Dr. Amwating Augustine Kwesi in Kuranza South, Mohammed Haruna Pru East, Samson Abolu Sena East, or Sena East I should say, Moses Ahimfo Aqua Ewutu Senya West, Nana Kweku Aban, Trefo Himang Lower Dentra, Mavis Opoku Akono, Esojamang, Paddy Amponsa Douglas, Etiwa West, Professor Edward Asante Entry, New Jabin North, Owusu Arthur Emmanuel in Sawam Ededrejiri, Ebenezer Doku Adenta, Ambrose Chega Ga East, Deborah Ampofo Ga East, Michael Dankwa Weja Gbawe, Isa Abdullahi East Mampurusi, and then Kweku Patrick Karachi West, Felix Owusu Jima in Kwanta South, Jacob K. Dumakwe, Sisala Tuna Kalba, and then Aguna Albert, Bolga East. There is also Daniel Atampuba, Boku West, Mohammed Foka of Fauka, I should say, perhaps, Sisala West. There is Walter, who is going to Adaklu, Innocent Kwesi Tete, South Tong, Alex Buedu, Memphis Central, and Eric Essien in Zima East. So the president disappoints and then the president appoints. So that is the situation as far as the district and municipal assemblies are concerned, for your information. We will put this up on asasiradio.com very soon. Okay, Mr. Janswa.
The president disappoints, the president appoints, but the president doesn't give reasons why he disappoints or appoints.
He is not enjoined to do so.
But it has to change. I don't see why a president will appoint and not give reasons to the people who put you there why you've appointed someone. I don't see it. That law has to change.
There's no lawyer here. We need to test it against Article 2.
Well, it is something that doesn't help our democracy.
What do you say we should test? Oh, sorry.
It's discretionary power.
The discretionary
I know it's
powers.
discretionary
Okay,
power. I know it's
must be
discretionary
reasons.
power, but
So nobody has yet tested it in law. I think we should be tested.
Okay, let's wrap up this.
Then maybe
conversation
you and I
because we
should
are
go
running
and
out
test
of
it in
time.
Exactly. We
court.
should test it.
Yes, you should test it in court.
Yes,
Because-
Mr. Chancellor, please go
We should
ahead.
write to him and ask him for the reasons. And when he refuses to give us, we go to court and test it.
I think
Only this
that
president.
any president, not only this president, any president. Now,
Now, maybe this one will be a good example.
yes. Well, it's too close to elections anyway.
But you should still try.
Well, okay, we can
One
try.
day
it.
we can write to
Yes,
him.
we can try it. Yes.
Okay, Mr. Chancellor.
So I indicated that I was looking at the letter of January 17th, 2024, where it came from the MPP headquarters. The title of the letter is Decision of the National Executive Committee on Aspiring Parliamentary Candidates. When you look at the list, and it's a list of the entirety of people standing for the different parliamentary positions, maybe, as I said, Annie will be able to explain to me. When you look at the status, in that status, it's stated either the person has qualified, or the person is going unopposed, or the person is disqualified. Please explain that disqualification for me. Because if you look in there are quite a number of women who have been disqualified. So maybe Annie will be able to explain what that disqualification means, because I couldn't understand it and I didn't know why. Now, if it so happens that you make all the provisions for women to be part and parcel of the politics where they stand, I'm for women, but are we saying that if we did affirmative action, all these things, we will still get women, a multitude of women coming to stand? Is that what we're saying? There is some fundamental reason why women don't want to get into politics, in this country, and we should investigate what that is. Is it that the men have made it so dirty that even if provisions are given, not a lot of women will still go in there? Typical example is on radio and TV shows. How many women go on radio and TV shows? How many in the political realm of the different parties? You can count them on your fingertips. And some of the women who go on these political shows are the women who are hard. If they are not hard, their reasoning is such that it catapults some of the men's reasonings. And so we've got to be able to understand why women don't want to partake in our political process. For me, I think if women partake in a political process, it will be very good. Very, very good. And I know I'll be kicked for saying this, but I feel women are much, much less corrupt than men. If you take 10 men, or you take 5 men, 5 women, and you look at corruption, there will be more men being corrupt than women.
Okay.
If you take 100,
that I'm sure Antoinette agrees with you.
if
Dr.
you take
Antoinette
if you
agrees
take
with
100 people, 50 men, 50 women, and you look at corruption and all this, men are more than women. So women, I think, bring some kind of decency in politics, but most of them don't want to be part and parcel of the process, and there must be a reason. Monocracy. You know something? I have said, delegates say that is their cuckoo season. If the leader of the party comes and says to all delegates and to all aspiring parliamentarians or anybody who wants to stand in the name of a political party, the leader comes and says, my supporters, people who support my party, let me make it clear to you that I am not encouraging any of my parliamentarians who want to stand, I'm not encouraging them to pay a cent to you. A cent to you. And he or she insists, and parliamentarians or whoever wants to stand also take it and tell delegates, we ain't paying a peswa. You can vote, decide to vote, you can decide not to vote. And anybody who demands, any delegate who demands, should be taken on by the party. Perhaps this monocracy will start stopping, will start changing. Because it's really threatening the democracy in this country. It's threatening it. And it has to stop somewhere. It can't go on. So they bring you fridge, they bring you TV, they bring you what? They give you money. And because of that, you sell your conscience.
They say democracy is expensive.
So that is what makes it expensive. Does it make sense? Does it make sense? And I think there's a CDD report that the president needs 100 million to execute being president. Does it make sense?
100 million what? Cedis or
dollars?
Because cedis is quite small.
Dollars. That a parliamentarian needs nearly $80,000 to execute an election.
80,000?
Yes. Is it $80,000? Oh.
80,000 appears to be quite small if you ask me. $80,000.
Or is it more or is it less? They need a whole of money. People in terms of creating jobs. Some people are inherently corrupt. Some people too don't have the jobs. They can't afford 3 square meals a day. So as a delegate, they feel, when you people go, that is it. Take whatever I can take from you now. But it is affecting our democracy. Very soon, you get Al-Qaeda and all these people coming in with big monies. You get criminals coming in with big monies, paying to parliamentarians who want to stand, whoever wants to stand, and then when you now get into parliament, you are doing their bidding. Wilberforce, it doesn't help any of us. So that monocracy, that monocracy should stop. It should stop. It has to.
That's an appeal. I don't know where it will get to, but it is an appeal.
Well, it's an appeal where Ghanaians should listen. It's an appeal where the people of this country who have the wherewithal to be able to stop it should stop it. Political parties should come together and discuss this particular issue. Okay. It's a national issue that needs discussion by political parties. That needs discussion by everybody. It has to stop.
These are the proposals.
You know, a small group of people cannot hold us ransom. They cannot hold us ransom. And if and see and you see it is pretty Annie, please, I beg. It is pretty strange that different political parties come and sit on platforms like this, and we are kicking each other's head. We are saying we say they're fighting. The moment we leave this studio and we go downstairs, it's as if nothing happened.
They are friends.
They are best of friends. Going to eat wache together, going to cut their hair together, going to do things together.
Are you suggesting that Dr. Antoinette and Nick Papo are very good friends?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
Are they not good friends?
Promise that if I want to go to parliament, you even find
they are good friends.
Because he wants more women.
So if they are good friends, why can't we come together and sort this particular monocracy thing out? It's not helping us.
Okay. So there's a message here for you, Mr. Jantua, from Abdul Basit Mahama. He says that if Mr. Jantua wants the removal of discretionary powers, he should run for office. When he gets the mandate, he will understand why you cannot be democratic with discretionary powers. Mahama in Ashaman. So that's your message for Mahama. There's also a message for Nikpapo.
I believe that
Yes.
the what I'm saying should be taken on. Ghanaians should see the interest in it.
So it is the same Ghanaians you are appealing to who are collecting these things. So they are not different people. They are Ghanaians. They are now collecting.
Well, it's not everybody who is doing
Okay.
it.
So
So these are delegates,
Mm.
special people
But they are
within the
Ghanaians.
party.
Yes, but they are Ghanaians.
but they are thieves in Ghana.
From
They are
all
Ghanaians
walks
who are
of
thieves.
life.
They are the Ghanaians who are thieves. Is
Okay.
everybody a thief?
All right. So Abdul Basit Mahama again has a message for Nikpapo. He says Nikpapo keeps playing with words like proposals and consensus. What do they mean to him or the NDC? A proposal is a suggestion solicited or non-solicited, and consensus is a general agreement or understanding. So if there is no consensus or there is a stalemate, what should the Electoral Commission do? The MPP didn't get these reforms instituted lying down. Folks had to resort to the legal route. So if they have faith in their own case or proposals, or think the EC's decisions are illegal and unconstitutional, they should test that in the temple of justice. And that's from Mahama from Ashaman. And then the last message I'm reading before I take a quick break and then come to Nikpapo and Kingsley.
I would want Annie to answer this question of disqualification on their list for me, if she can.
Yeah, so there's this issue about the monetization. So Lee says that the only thing that monetization can be the only thing that let me just read this message. The only thing that monetization can be eradicated from our election is to go the Swedish way, where parliamentarians are treated as civil servants. How can the taxpayer pay 60% of the parliamentarian's car loan, $100,000 car loan, and taxpayer pays $60,000? The monocracy is becoming dangerous to our democracy, and we must do something about it right now. So Lee agrees with Mr. Jantua's proposition. Okay, so I'll take a quick break. Once I'm back, I'll come to Kingsley and Nee to talk about the MPP issues, and then we will end by talking about the Africa Prosperity Dialogues. This is Asase Radio. The show is The Forum. The Forum is your weekend political and current affairs show. We've been in discussion with my guest, Dr. Antoinette Tibudaku, Deputy General Secretary of the MPP, Mr. Kwame Jantua, a member of the Convention People's Party, Kingsley Amoakwa Boydu, member of the MPP Communications Team, Nikpapo Samoa Ado, member of the NDC, lecturer at GIMPA. We are back shortly after this breather.
There's a sports news you know.
A new world record for Usain Bolt.
There's what you're told.
Lionel Messi does it again. He's shooting.
And then there's what you should be told and how that information should be presented.
From the Anas video, clearly, it's being used as a vehicle for illegality.
That's where we come in. 2 hours of insightful analysis and the latest news, views, and interviews in one quality, unadulterated content.
Team Talk is live on Asase Radio 99.5.
Danger here. Save.
At 11 a.m. on Saturdays.
A well held at a second.
Let's take it back to the old school. And wave your hands like you just don't care.
This is Back to the Old School. This is back to the old school. 2 solid hours of massive anthems from back in the day. The ultimate collection of mega hits and various club classics. All here on Asase 99.5. Old School Beach Jam. Songs you love from back in the day on Daddy's vinyl records. To the back of the classroom block, to the dance floor, and to the club. Time to reminisce on the Old School Beach Jam. Saturdays, 4 p.m. on Asase 99.5.
Let's shout, shake your body down to the ground. Let's dance, let's shout, shake your body down to the ground.
To be a leader in one's field takes a lot of sacrifice, discipline, hard work, and smart thinking. It is a world of legacies that would be kings and queens. They have journeyed through times and seasons, faced challenges and obstacles, and through it all, they have come out stronger and better. With them, they have carried the African spirit and brought to life the African dream of greatness for discoveries and great strides they have made. In a world where the African may not naturally be the first option, what has aided them in breaking boundaries and stereotypes?
4 exciting moments of enlightenment with great African leaders. Join us on Sunday night. This and every Sunday at 7 p.m. on Asasi Radio. Sunday night, the iconic encounter.
From oil to gas to hydro to renewables, it is all about energy. Energy, the power behind Ghana's development agenda. Energy, the driving force behind the nation's industrialization. Energy, without it, the country cannot move forward. Every Monday, between 7 and 8 p.m., join Emmanuel Abuajiweafi for Energy 101, where you and I learn about our energy reserves, new initiatives in the field, the challenges faced, and how we are managing our resources. Energy 101 brings you an in-depth look at how Ghana is building its energy capacity, developing new sources of energy, and how we are managing our energy. Every Monday between 7 and 8 p.m. Tune in to Asasi Radio 99.5 for Energy 101. Our future, our present.
Africa, a continent of rich, diverse culture and insights, people with ambitions, crafts, and talents, seemingly dispersed but united in our own unique stories. We are here to share our stories in the right way, right place, on the right platform. AfroLink brings you the latest news from our correspondents on the continent, as well as interviews with African officials, opposition leaders, NGOs, human rights activists, and government officials. The show also examines developments in science and technology, the environment, development issues, the African diaspora, business, lifestyle, and culture, with special feature of African News Tonight from VOA. Join Tina Moses Sam and the news team weeknights on Asasi Radio from 12 a.m. to 1 a.m. as she tells our African stories succinctly. AfroLink, telling compelling African stories to our global audience.
Okay, so you're welcome back to the forum here on Asasi Radio 99.5 in Accra, Asasi Radio 100.3 Cape Coast, 98.5 in Kumasi, and 99.7 in Tamale. My name is Wilberforce Asari. I'm your host for today's show. Now, let's go to Nick Bakpo now, and Nick Bakpo is going to share his thoughts on the MPP exercise that has gone, the last of its internal processes to elect parliamentary candidates. 2024
is now set.
Election 2024 is set. Yes,
set. You see, let me make my first observation is that the MPP has learned a good lesson from previous elections. See, having engineered a candidate by way of the presidential election by the establishment candidate, they quickly realized that any attempt to do the same thing. About it, I can't talk. Oh, why you interrupting me?
Opinion. There's no time. I'll get you outside.
Look, I want people to observe that I have been threatened on air by Dr. Antoinette. That should get me outside. So if anything happens to me, please, you know who's responsible. Now, you see, having learned that lesson, that the consequences of manipulating the election with the establishment of the butterfly movement, I think the MPP decided to make sure that as for the parliamentary, hands off. And I think it has paid dividend for them, because to have almost 50 sitting MPs, whether voluntarily or by the election process. No. It's significant. See,
how many? 50?
Almost, yeah. If you add the sitting, I'm talking about those who voluntarily.
Yes, I think it was 17 voluntary exits.
Is it 18?
There was 17.
Okay, and then 20 something.
And then 28.
So how much? You know how much?
28 have lost.
So how much?
So 17. Together? So we are talking about 50.
Yes.
55.
55. Yes. That is a significant.
17
plus 27.
Plus 28.
Yes, how much is it?
28, yes. So that you are talking about 55.
No, 40.
40 something.
45.
45.
Okay. Yes, almost 50. So you see, that is a significant amount of MPs, sitting MPs, that are leaving Parliament in an election cycle. And it tells me that...
Actually, it's 19 that have dropped out.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah.
Yeah, 52?
No, it's not 52. We have 28 that lost.
Yes.
And then 19 that...
So how much did the
dropped
two
out.
make?
So that is 38 plus another...
You say you have
That's
38?
47.
47, yes, okay. So almost 50 MPs are leaving the...
28 plus...
28 that lost, and then 19 that...
voluntarily
exiting voluntarily.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so that's, you're talking about... so 9, yes, it's 47.
What it denies the NDC, for example, is the unpopular ones. We cannot capitalize on the unpopularity. See, that's one of the disadvantages that these new faces give us. Number two, these new faces are also hungry for power. So what happens is that they are prepared to spend. See, they are not spend money on their campaign. They are not going to be chiseled like a sitting MP. See, with the sitting MPs, look, if he loses, he conserves the little he has. If he wins, so be it. But with the new MP, he's hungry for power. See, the most dangerous candidates, in my opinion, are those who are hungry for power. When you are competing for those who are hungry for power, other than the belly-full people, you have a problem. Because the belly-full candidates are people that really, well, if they lose, hell, they will go back to their this day. But for the hungry people like these 47 new candidates, they also want to be called honorable. So they are going to go all out. And I think that it will be probably to the credit of the MPP that rather than lose, maybe if the seats that, how many seats are in Ashanti?
47.
No, how many seats? No, the people who are leaving, those who were changed and those who voluntarily left.
Okay, so I know Osechi Mensah, Joe Wise is not going again.
So probably let's say about 10 seats may come from the Ashanti region, right? Out of the 47.
I'll count.
For about maybe, let me make an estimate. Even if it's 10, take out that 10, it means that there were potentially 37 seats that maybe even if we struggled, the NDC did well, we could have taken about 20 just on their own popularity. But the fact that they have changed means that now we have a problem. We have to now match them boot for boot, because now a hungry candidate, first-time candidate, coupled with a very hungry presidential candidate, gives you extra work. Whilst if we had belly-full 47 sitting MPs, taking about maybe 20 out would have been easier. So congratulations to the MPP. I think that they have to some extent, out of that 47, if even 10 came from the Ashanti region, they have literally prevented themselves from losing, give or take, I think about 37 seats, just based on the unpopular nature of their government. You understand?
I'll give you the statistics.
How many are from there?
I can tell you.
Oh, wow. Yes.
Actually, 9 bowed out from Ashanti.
Aha, so you see?
Then 6 lost.
Yeah, so 9 plus 6 is 15. So potentially 15.
So 15 seats we've protected.
Aha, you understand? So
don't even bring a candidate.
47 out of the 15. The others, you have done well. It just means that the NDC, we have to revise our strategies. Those who are going to count, for example, I know that we're all praying that they maintained this man in my constituency, Trobo. What's the name? Monisenim. We were all praying that they maintain him, because already the unpopularity had done almost maybe 40% of the work for us. Now this new woman comes with, and she's doing a lot of nice things, you know, boreholes and things. So now the pressure, that's why I said that. It means that the NDC, I was telling my friends, it means we have to go back to the drawing board, because...
You also did it to us.
Well, because...
I don't want to say it. One seat that had targeted power in Northern Region.
No, and you see, all the what do you call it? Amasan. Look, some of the vulnerable seats, Amasaman, Anyanso, Utuom, Engleshi, Manfro, they've changed all of them. All very unpopular candidates. Which means the NPP, either they did some internal polls, whatever they did, one, to get those people to voluntarily leave, and two, to open the democratic space and allow free and fair elections. It will be to their credit, because I suspect that they may benefit very heavily from that house cleansing of 40. You see, the disadvantage for the NDC, I think, is that we literally have a lot of the sitting MPs being maintained. You see, and sometimes that's a disadvantage, because you go in, I see, a first-time candidate, I always say, is hungrier. Apart from the voter seats, there are some seats that when you win, they are safe. But take out the safe seats, the 50-50 seats, when you have a new candidate as opposed to, and you see, I keep telling people, parliamentary elections are completely different from presidential elections because they are about local issues. They're about the roads, they're about the markets, they're about those who have been coming for funerals, those who have been seen in the constituency. So if you normally...
And those who pay money.
If you normally, and that's why I said that the first-time candidate is always ready to spend. So those who have done their homework well and give the local people the people that they want, normally the elections at the parliamentary can actually be quite different from the elections at the presidential. Finally, I think that the complement is a hungry presidential candidate plus a hungry parliamentary candidate. It makes the MPP a very, very difficult animal in this coming 2024 election. I think that the NDC as a party must set up. We cannot take now our ability to hang on to the unpopular MPP candidates at the parliamentary level is gone. They are giving us new candidates who are hungry for power. We need to look at the dynamics again, especially with our sitting MPs that are still having issues with their constituency executives. We have a problem in some of those constituencies. We need to take a second look at those MPs again. If there's a way some of them can be asked to, take a bow, it may be beneficial to us because some of the places may be tight. But I'm happy to see faces like Osla because I think her seat is vulnerable. And I'm happy that because I think that she's unpopular. Let's see how she will go.
Okay.
How do you, why do you think that those people you replace will win?
See, because you see, when you, for example, some of the constituencies, you see, when you are dealing with the constituency elections, when you are 2-3-term MP, your enemies are more. You see, the complaints are more because you have not been able to satisfy a lot of. So for those Okaikwe South, for example, is very, very looking very good for us. I'm hoping that they've maintained the same candidate. Patrick, he's popular, but you see, when you are an old MP, your enemies are more. Your problems are multiplied because there are people that expect you can't. The thing is, in actual truth, you can't satisfy everybody. And as you go for a second term, as you go for a third term, the people you started with one are complaining. The people who helped you a second time are complaining. The people who probably helped you a third time too are expecting. When you exit, expectations go down. Then the target is now the new person who comes in with his own new team. So I am saying that, look, these new people, they pose a problem for us because a lot of the constituencies who were counting on the unpopular nature of the sitting MPs, they've been taken out.
Okay, so Kingsley, it's your turn now. But as you make your point, you also talk about the APD because we are beginning our wrap up. So
now I'm using 3 topics.
No. One topic. It's just the MPP.
The women issue.
That's all part of the MPP primaries.
So I would love. I'm a woman's person. I would love for more women to be in parliament. I think I agree with Uncle Kwame, the potential flag bearer. I've added potential flag bearer for CPP.
Flag bearer.
Yes, for CPP. That I think is it's lovely working with women. Having women at the helm of affairs because they are more empathic and all that. What I am careful not to encourage is any affirmative action because it is difficult when you get there as an MP. You are faced with all real issues is in your locality. So if you have it slightly easier, you may not be cut out for the job and then you will flop. You see? So come tough it out. And having said so, I've been a lecturer for a long time, at least in Ghana. I've been a lecturer for 13 years, all right? And a majority of the times, those who are doing well in class are the women. He says it's not that we don't have capable women who can take the positions. Just like you said, I think there's something we do. Probably we make it so macho a process when you're getting there that only those who can insult back and only those or my very capable the teacher said, you know, when she talks, the argument, the logic of it.
She tells you the kind of problems that she goes through, you'll be surprised.
Oh, please. We're not talking about problems. Yeah. But,
as a woman in politics.
But the logic of an argument alone and a sweetness alone, will torpedo whatever you have. So I think we should do that. We should find ways of encouraging more women into it. The monitocracy. Wow. You know.
Is that why you didn't go?
No, not really. Something else, which I think something else. Now, which we don't want to talk about.
Exactly.
Right? So
it's all for public consumption.
Exactly. Now, we really have to do something about this. I mean, this time around, I didn't see lots of evidence about that, pieces of evidence about that. But when you talk to people, the kind of money they are quoting, forget about that, your 300, 400, 500, forget about that. We're talking lots of money.
3,000,
in my constituency, there's no evidence of the money given to the delegates, but there's the evidence of what the contestants were doing in the constituency. This guy did most of the inner roads, did mini bridges, did culverts from his own resources. You know, people were now registering people up on insurance policies, and so there's a lot is being for the good of the people, but is the delegates who are voting for you, not the masses.
So it's ad hoc.
You see,
it's ad hoc.
Yeah. So
no, nothing shows that if he gets in there or if she gets in there, they will do the same.
Precisely. You see, so but someone has come to build a mini bridge. Someone has done chip compounds, 10 chip compounds. 10.
From his own resources.
Yes. And some boreholes. If they tell you the cost of 1 times 10, and you're thinking,
you see, if this were any country, they'll find out where you got the money from to do all those.
You see, so we really have to do something about it. The morning of the election, I was driving around and I saw some big car with people coming out. I don't know whether they had alighted. And I kept on looking at what they are coming out with, and it seemed, but because it's at night, it's still dawn, 4:30, and they seem to be carrying boxes. So I'm thinking, is this something being shared, or they just alighted, they traveled and alighted? So things like that. I think the bottom line is we need to really do something. So if there are electoral reforms, this is, I think, what is very germane, because where we are getting to, those who are better qualified to run for those offices, they will stay back. They'll stay back. And it doesn't make sense to go and commit such resources and you don't know whether you are going to win or not. It doesn't make sense. So we should really have electoral reforms within the parties, and even at some consensus building, you see, where we are saying this, and this is how we will cut down on this monitocracy.
I know an MP who stood and won, and the person told me that
oh yeah, I know someone else who said the person is crying because he spent a lot of money. He didn't win. And you see, it is not that you have your own money. It's either you've gone to do certain things, and you see, when I went to my place, it was a funeral, my cousin's funeral, and I went, and all of them came around. All the delegates came around. We heard you are coming. And I said, oh, now it's too late. Oh, no, it's not too late. It's not too late. So when I moved, one of them came and said, oh, if you commit any funds, you will lose. We just want your money. And that is all. The way they hyped me up, if I was minded to, probably based on that, I would have gone. And it's about, we want your money. It's not that we are looking at your qualifications and whether you don't need to be a degree holder to be an MP. All right. But whether you can actually do the job of a parliamentarian. That is what we're talking about. And whether you can also lobby to bring developmental projects to your constituents, constituent. That's what we're talking about. Now we're not looking at that. That's. You call us for a meeting. 1 hour you are talking. We'll wait for you. And when we finish the meeting and we are going, that is the meeting. That's when the meeting has started. Yes. That's when the meeting has started. And then we are going and giving us 200. We are not serious. That's how you call a meeting. We won't come. And it feeds into several other things, and I think we must, all of us collectively, stop this. The conference,
yes,
superb. I mean, some of the people that attended, and even the locale of it, superb. It's a shame I couldn't attend because I was having lectures or had matters in court. But when I look at even the speeches and all, when I read some of them, I kick myself in the foot and say, no, I should have actually made sure I was there for the energy matters, for the oil and gas matters. I should have been there for the natural resources matter. I should have been there. And so kudos to the organizers. I pray it doesn't remain on the shelves and the books, that we really actualize some of the decisions made there.
Some of the policies articulated.
Yes.
Okay.
Doctor. So that.
Yes, please.
APN, APD.
Amazing program. I mean, I was there for the days, and I was reading through the content and listening to the sessions and the amazing speakers and the dedication with which they spoke. Let me just say one thing. I think the most significant thing about the Africa Prosperity Dialogues was the fact that Africans have come together as Africans and are speaking in Africa about Africa. For me, that is like, it just kept giving me goosebumps. Because I remember once upon a time, Africans will meet, we are discussing Africa, but we'll be sitting in Europe. We'll be sitting in Asia.
Africa-America Summit.
It takes some of the, it takes the very essence of the reason why we are trying to address our issues away. I also want to comment on the theme. Produce. Food security is still a very important thing in this part of the world, especially looking at how much we spend on imports. And I think if COVID and the Russia-Ukraine crisis didn't teach us anything, at all, it taught us that Africa still has a lot of deficit when it comes to how we want to cater for food for the continent. And when I say that, people always say, oh, but we can. I'm like, no. If we take the continent as a whole, there are still areas that we have not addressed. And then add value and faster than we have ever done before. Primary production is totally all the barriers that we ourselves keep putting to trade at our borders, the customs issues and etc. We need to let go of it. And that said, I was waiting for you to ask me that. How then does this threat to go away from ECOWAS? I was asking
they quote the old act, the local government act. They should quote the new local
one.
So
all right.
That letter can be subject to legal challenge.
Okay.
So
all right.
You should look at the 2016 act, not the 2014 act.
Okay. So there's a message here that I'm ending with. It says that Mr. Answer, yes, quickly. So I'm sorry, 30 seconds.
58 years late in terms of Africa coming together. So the Prosperity Dialogue is a good stepping stone. I was sitting next to one gentleman who was from Senegal, and he has started cotton. He's doing cotton farming. He said he came here, he spoke to Minister of Agriculture, spoke to Minister of Finance. It's not our priority. And he felt it quite sad, because the cotton industry is something that would bring textiles to revamp our textile industry. But I thought it was a good dialogue. And we should have more of those.
And I remember you were there.
Yes, I was
so,
there.
yes.
Yes.
So there's a message from Maxwell Apia Dangwa who says that I think Dr. Bawumia should take his eyes from my home region, Ashanti, and give the vice presidential candidate slot to Dr. Antoinette, because she's equally, if not more qualified for most of the names that are in public domain. The dirty politics that is going on in the region is too much just because of that position. So, Dr. Antoinette, somebody there. And then there's Abdul Basit. Your message on feminism. The principle says that a woman is simultaneously a victim and empowered until something happens. Then she chooses which state benefits her most. There is absolutely no need for any intervention or legislation in the matter of their participation in elections. Any action will be undemocratic. Democracy is choice, maybe. Bawumia is okay, so is this I think Mahama in a shaman. That's what he wanted to say. All right, so that's how we wrap up the show today. This has been The Forum. The Forum is your weekend political and current affairs show where we bring multiple perspectives to issues of national interest. Today, we looked at 3 issues. The Electoral Commission reforms. We spent most of our time there. We also talked about the fallout from the MPP parliamentary primaries, and then we talked about Africa Prosperity Dialogues. My guests who have been on the show, ladies first, Dr. Antoinette Tibudako, Deputy General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party. Doc, thank you very much for coming. And Kingsley Amwakwata, Amwakwa Buedu. I have a friend called Amwakwata. So, Amwakwa Buedu. Kingsley is a practicing lawyer and a member of the MPP National Communications team. Kwame Jantwa, yes, and a law lecturer at which of the universities? Wisconsin University. Kwame Jantwa is a member of the Convention People's Party and is also a private. He's also a lawyer. He is not practicing now. Nick Bakpo Samoa Ado, managing partner Ado and Ado Legal Attorneys, lecturer. Gimpa Law Faculty, a member of the National Democratic Congress. Today, I hosted...
Incoming Attorney General.
Okay. So, my name is Wilberforce Society. The show has been produced
you see how it is.
The show has been produced by Emmanuel Ohime, ably supported by Daniel Gatiglo. My name is Wilberforce Society. As I said, thank you very much for the privilege of your company.